Okay, we have this recording started as well. So, folks, welcome to our introduction slash demo session for SAP Ariba. And this is Manish here. I've been conducting training for SAP Ariba with BOC for last few years. And I've worked in Ariba slash SAP slash industry for about 15 plus years. And currently as well, I'm working on a few Ariba projects. And I'm based out of North America. And I look forward to working with you guys in this training. Let me start with my screen sharing. Okay, so some of you guys might know, some of you guys might not know. Basic concept here is Ariba is also an SAP product. And if you don't know what SAP is a big provider for SAP ERP systems. Currently, the latest one being S4HANA. And this is the company that bought SAP Ariba back in, I would say, almost like 10 plus years ago, right? And that's when Ariba moved to the cloud. Cloud is like, as we know, cloud is very popular these days. All major IT companies have their own cloud platform where you can do software development, you can implement solutions. So SAP Ariba, I would say, is one of the pioneers when it comes to cloud solutions related with procurement. So what is SAP Ariba? SAP Ariba is it is a cloud solution. Let's jot down some key points that supports e-procurement processes. The word e here means basically means electronic, right? But it is also at the same time meaning cloud, right? So we can say that SAP Ariba is a software as a service that aims to digitize or make the procurement processes electronic for a given client organization. Right? What is procurement processes? Right? What procurement processes does SAP Ariba support? Sourcing all the way down to invoice processing. Right? I think that's one statement which probably explains a lot, right? If you guys have a procurement background, it's probably a little bit easy to understand. If you don't have a procurement background, then it's a little bit hard to understand what this line means, right? And what this line says also explains what modules SAP Ariba has, right? So we'll go through very briefly, since we are doing an introduction of SAP Ariba, what are the various modules that we have in the system, and which are going to also be part of our training, right? So which means if I'm listing a module here, we'll also cover that in our training and future sessions in more detail. I know there are some questions coming. I will suggest if you guys can hold off to certain questions, let's say for 30 odd minutes, and then we can uh, start answering them. If you guys do have some burning question due to which let's say you're not able to fully participate in our discussion today, I will suggest you message on the chat, and the chat is being monitored continuously, and they'll try to help you out. Perhaps your screen is not working, you're not able to follow what I'm saying, right? So that sort of question, I will suggest that you message on the chat and we'll try to answer. Anything else related to Ariba, let's just try to answer in about 30 minutes or so. Okay. So what is SAP Ariba? It is a software as a service. It is a cloud solution. It aims to digitize the e-procurement processes. At a high level, what is the total end-to-end process that it supports? Sourcing all the way down to invoice processing. Now, this is done in a very crude way, right? Based on the assumption that just like in our past sessions, not everybody is going to understand what terms like S2C, P2P means. Hence why it's like written down in a little bit of a crude language, right? what are the various modules in SAP Ariba. And just, I guess, a note before we begin, what I also mentioned, these are also the modules we will cover in our training from end user and configuration perspective. Ariba SLP module, that's number one. And what does SLP module stand for? This module, the full form of SLP is Supplier Life Cycle and Performance module. This is one of, I would say, one of the newest modules that SAP Ariba has. And this module aims to streamline. See, I'm sure you guys are noticing it's like typing for myself. I'm not even typing. That's good innovation that Word has. This module aims to streamline the supplier master data creation, management, and also the supplier's lifecycle. If you guys have understood or heard the term called supplier record, vendor master, business partner, right? This is the module that is going to help you do. Once again, let's go back to what is SAP Ariba. It is a product from SAP. It is software as a service, right? Which a client is going to subscribe to and pay for on a periodic basis. And this module, given that we are primarily working with SAP, this aims to streamline the process of creation of a business partner, right? Business partner, if you guys, sure most of you guys will know what it is. It is a vendor master record in SAP S/4HANA, right? So with this module, you are able to create a supplier's record. You're able to collect a lot of information about a supplier's data so that your business partner can be created in SAP. If you guys have worked in SAP, you know that you can go to a transaction or a Fiori app to create business partner, right? Let's you do that. But what about all the process of collecting all the data, approval flows and everything, right? That's not standard in SAP, right? This is where this module shines. And even if you try to build an approval flow, some way to customize that, right? There are ways you can work around that. How will supplier get involved, right? So you can see that business partner process in SAP works in a silo. So SLP comes in picture and expands that. It's not a silo anymore. You're working with like 7 million plus suppliers which are already using SAP Business Network, right? So we can see that in addition to streamlining, because streamlining is a very broad term, it could mean anything, right? So this module brings the native integration between SAP Ariba, SLP, and SAP Business Network / Ariba Network, where the suppliers are able to participate in their own creation and management, right? So think of it this way: you're not even creating a supplier's record, right? Yourself. It is being created by the supplier itself in the SAP. It's almost equivalent to that. How it exactly works, right? We'll discuss in more detail, right? So again, once again, in this module, when it comes to the scope of a training, we will look at covering how the end user experience is for SLP and how we will do configurations for SLP, right? So that you guys are equipped with the knowledge of dealing with the client, whether it is talking or whether it is configuring, right? That's Ariba SLP module, one of the newest modules that SAP Ariba has. Ariba Supplier Risk. This is the newest module, right, which Ariba has. And the goal of this module is So this module provides the visibility to suppliers' risk profile so that suitable actions can be taken by the client so that the risk can be managed. This is the newest module. I would say the key feature of this is monitoring the risk of the supplier. Ariba gets a lot of data from a lot of different sources and provides you almost like a report, you can say, right? That this is the risk level of a supplier, and then depending upon your company's policies, you are able to take suitable actions. Right, so that's the newest module, supplier risk. Ariba sourcing. This module aims to digitize and also, I'm looking for the right word. It's not just digitizing, it is also expanding the scope of what you can do in sourcing, expanding the scope of RFX activities that an organization can do. Right now, some of you guys might not know what RFX is. Right? RFX here means RFP, RFI, auction, forward auction. Now, again, you might wonder what does RFP, RFI means. Just to a little bit clarify to you guys, RFP is request for proposal. Those of you guys who are coming from ERP background, for your sourcing probably means just RFQ, request for quotation. It doesn't mean anything beyond that, right? Hence why expanding the scope word is used here. You're going to go beyond RFQ. Of course, RFQ is part of the overall Ariba solution, right? That's not a question. But beyond RFQ also, there is things which typical ERP solutions do not support. They don't support RFP, request for proposal, RFI, request for information, auction. So this is a price competition to squeeze the lowest price from the suppliers. I will take out the word called forward auction for now, okay? Just to keep things simple. So we are doing procurement, and in procurement, what is our goal? Our goal is to buy things, right? Forward auction is about selling things. Hence why I said let's just, okay, why is it not letting me control the, let's just take it out for now. When we go into more details about sourcing, we'll discuss what that means. So in request for proposal, you are having a requirement as a user within a company, like who is using SAP Ariba, and you're looking to get pricing for your requirement. What do I mean by requirement? Items, right? Items could be what? It could be a service or a good. For example, you have laptops to buy for your company, right? Over next 5 years, and you got to get into a contract with your, best supplier from various angles, um, who can supply your laptop for next 5 years. How will you start all that? What is the process that revolves around it? That's called RFP, and it's done in Ariba sourcing. Similarly, you are RFI. RFI is about doing more of market research, trying to understand what is the market in the for a given goods or services. For example, if you're looking to implement a project for SAP S/4HANA, you might not know what are the key players in the market, right? What sort of projects are done in SAP S/4HANA. So you're trying to get a lot of qualitative information. That's where RFI comes in picture, right? So you have RFP, where you have a very clear need and you're looking for certain prices and some qualitative factors. RFI, you're pretty much trying to understand market from a qualitative angle. You're not ready to get pricing yet, right? Auction is you have a very clear need. You just want to get the lowest price possible. For example, you need to buy 1,000 widgets for your manufacturing, right? And you're trying to get the lowest price from 5 different suppliers. You get them into an auction and try to get a lowest price possible for your widgets. That's what auction basically means. So RFP is one part, RFI is another part, our auction is another part. There is more to this in sourcing than just these things which you just noted down. Because at the end of the day, RFP is a document, right? RFI is a document, auction is a document. Sourcing is more than just a document management. There's also things like approval, there's things like review, right? Creation of a document, management of a document, working with suppliers, right? All those things, they are part of sourcing. Because what I mentioned here about SAP Business Network, that is also available for sourcing, right? So we can see that very briefly. Perhaps I can just note down here. Within sourcing, the client is able to leverage the SAP Business Network to conduct the sourcing activities. Right? So SLP basically creating, managing supplier data risk, monitoring suppliers risk. Sourcing is trying to understand or trying to execute your RFX in an electronic slash digital manner. Right? So these are three modules. What next? Okay, hold on. Why is my bullet not working? Maybe now. Yeah. Next is Ariba contract. So this is another module that Ariba has. In this module, you are able to manage the contracts lifecycle, right? So contract management module helps you manage the creation and um, amendment processes of the contract with the suppliers. Right? See, contract could mean a lot of things. Contract could mean employment contract, but we are not talking about those. We're talking about procurement contracts. So I'm going to use the word procurement just for clarity. What is a procurement contract? I'm a buyer, right? Some of you guys are a supplier. I want to have a contract with you so that you can supply me certain goods and services over a given time period. Typically, I would say 2+ years is what a procurement contract is generally about, right? And in that duration, what will you supply? What price will you supply? What are the terms and conditions? How will we resolve the dispute, right? What if the prices changes? How will we incorporate those changes? Everything is documented. Everything is signed. Right? So that's what we mean by contract here. We're not saying outline agreement. Of course, that is there. It is supported, right? In Ariba as well, there is a version of it which works in Ariba, and there is integration between Ariba and SAP to support outline agreement creation. That is there. But what is contract module? It is more than that. It is, of course, there is outline agreement. If you park that for now, what else does it do? It lets you create and manage the contract, procurement contract, which is almost like a legal document, right? So the procurement contract is the legal document that is signed by the supplier and the client. Client is who? Client is the company that is using SAP Ariba contracts module. Okay. So here as well, there are some points at which you can work with the suppliers who are on the SAP Business Network so that SAP Business Network has a background portal works in all the modules for basically all the modules for the suppliers, right? So there is points of integration between Ariba modules, SLP, not so much risk, right? Risk as well to some extent, SLP, risk sourcing, and also contracts. Now, it is probably worth mentioning that in the contracts module, there is a feature that supports the pricing terms that can be used within a that supports the pricing terms that can be used during PR/PO creation. Right. Okay, this feature is termed as contract compliance. So it is this feature that lets you pass on your pricing from your contracts to your transactions, which is purchase recs and purchase order. There is another feature. You can also pass on your pricing directly to the invoice, right? Which is also, I would say, a little different for you guys if you are from the ERP background. In ERP, you know what there is a contract feature or outline agreement feature. If we talk about SAP, and other ERPs have similar features too, right? They will let you pass on your pricing from contract to PR and PO. This is there in Ariba as well. This feature is called contract compliance. Okay. 5. So this is Ariba contracts. Then there is a module called Ariba buying/guided buying. This is where things can get a little tricky, right? I said that Ariba SLP module aims to streamline the master data creation management suppliers lifecycle. Great, makes total sense, right? ERP won't let you do that in a manner that SLP can let you do. This is like a different feature altogether or a module altogether, monitoring a risk. I mean, you can implement it standalone as well with SLP. Um, Sourcing aims to expand what typical ERP systems do, right? And contracts lets you manage the contract process for creation and execution and everything else, right? So modules up till here, what we have talked, these 4 modules, they're very distinct in a way. A client that is using ERP already, like SAP S/4HANA, for those clients, implementing all these modules will make perfect sense, first of all, right? The fifth one becomes a little tricky, right? I'll tell you why. The reason is this module supports the PR creation, approvals, and goods receipt processes, right? So buying module is basically PR creation, PR approval. In that there is PO creation as well, and then there is a goods/service receipt. Right? So this module basically supports that. If this module supports that, then you know why to implement it, because SAP also supports that, right? Or other ERPs also support that, and now there is Fury and stuff as well, which is slightly better than before, right? So this module is really standing out because it lets you bring your what do you call that, tail end spend or your consumable spend under control, right? So you're able to, so with this module, a given client is able to implement catalogs. I'll use the word catalogs and I'll explain what it is. And make the experience of buying consumables user friendly, as the overall experience becomes similar to a consumer e-commerce website, right? So what is the value with this thing guided buying or buying is bringing in? It's bringing you a platform where you can work with your suppliers to get your catalogs in there, right? And from those catalogs, you'll create your PR, your PO, do a GR, do a receipt, right? That's basically what this module is, having a biggest value versus what ERP system do, right? They don't have they have ways to put catalogs, right, in ERPs too, but they are not as straightforward as what buying will let you do. So this is a pretty nice module when it comes to consumable spend. So if you guys don't know what is consumable spend, something which is non-inventory. That's an easy way to understand that, right? Anything inventory, this module is not going to help you do, but anything non-inventory, this module is going to help you do in a very nice way, and users will like it. So it's more like an internal website, e-commerce website for a company, right? So let's say there is a large organization that is let's say public sector organizations in USA, right? And they have implemented Ariba Bank. What is the value? There is many users across the company, many locations, probably many offices. And what those guys can do is they are able to um, search on the catalogs in guided buying, get a very nice look and feel, due to which they are able to feel like, hey, this is where we should shop. Because if they don't have this, what they will do is they'll probably shop on some other consumer websites. What do I mean by consumer websites? I mean Amazon, Flipkart, eBay, perhaps, right? And then expense in the end. So this makes your experience very nice, and people are motivated to use it. So that's I would say, the main idea why the clients will implement it. So anything consumables, guided buying is there. And what is on top of that? There is also contracts you are building to control how much you're spending, what price you're giving, and all that. So there is like end-to-end integration of is even the consumable spend in the end-to-end S2C process. S2C means sourcing to contract to buying to uh, to invoicing and so on, right? So that's the buying module. PR creation, PO creation, approval, goods receipt, mainly for consumables. Okay. There is another module called Ariba Invoice Management. With this module, the POs that are created in Ariba buying can be managed from the invoice management perspective. And what it means in simple language is you have POs that are created in buying, right? You want to also pay the vendors for those POs after they are delivered, right? And you have the invoice management module that will help you make that process manageable within Ariba. And on top of that, this module also has native integration with SAP Business Network, due to which the suppliers are able to provide invoices to you via POFlip, right? So just by implementing this module, right, you're made the suppliers invoice management also very simple. They get a PO, they deliver it. There is more to than there is more processes which can be done which are optional. Like you can send order confirmation, you can send a shipping notice. All those things can be done as well. In our discussions, of course, we will look at all of those processes. We will look at the Ariba SAP Business Network side of things too, right? Of course, that's part of, because it is very deeply integrated with every single modules we are talking about. And since it is deeply integrated, we will also look at the business network side of things. You guys will get an access to a business network account too, in addition to the Ariba system which we will have for you, right? So what does invoice management do? It aims to streamline the invoice process for the POs that are created in Ariba buying. It can be used for other uh, POs which are created in ERP as well, but things can get a little complex. So I will say this is primarily for POs that are created in buying module. If there is no buying module, there probably is not much sense of having invoicing module. So collectively, Ariba tries to sell these two together, buying and invoicing, or it sells just buying, right? Depending on what it feels is the best solution for the client, right? Um, so with this module, client will be, the supplier will be able to put the invoice for the POs they have received with a few clicks, and that thing is called PO flip, right? And the invoice will go through a thorough three-way match process. A three-way match is a process of comparing the invoice with the PO and also the goods receipt. And with this module, you will have a very, very thorough three-way match process. And why did I say thorough? I said thorough because this module has a lot of built-in checks. I will use the word checks for now. It has a lot of built-in checks due to which you are able to compare the invoice with the PO, with the GR from various angles. And it is just so detailed. Like once you guys look at it, it is so well designed that you will see that, hey, this is probably what everything should be, like all ERPs should function. But unfortunately, they don't, right? So the only thing is this only works primarily for buying. But if it was, in my view, if it was working for, let's say, if you are bringing POs from your ERP system into your Ariba and doing a three-way match for those POs in Ariba, it will be even better, right? So I think there are some questions coming in chat. We'll try to address those questions later on. What about the middleware? We said that Ariba is the SAP product primarily, and I use the word about such as contracts integration, like you're gonna be able to create outline agreement from Ariba, right? And I also use the word called 3D match invoicing, right? So if you guys remember, and if you guys know a little bit about ERP systems are your background or backbone for your financial processes within a client organization, right? So which means that if your client is doing financial activities, which is basically processing payments, managing their financial plans, various cost objects they manage in SAP. They have a very detailed finance module that is there in SAP or in any other ERP. Due to which, what happens is you don't make payments in SAP Ariba itself. So I did not use the word payment anywhere, right? I use the word called supplier data creation management, risk monitoring, creating a sourcing, RFX document, contracts, buying and then invoicing. I didn't use the word payment anywhere. So whenever SAP Ariba is implemented, payment is never processed in Ariba for POs, right? Which are created in Ariba, payment is still processed in SAP, right? So in order to make that whole end-to-end payment process work and a lot of other things to work, there is quite a few integration points that happen between SAP Ariba and SAP S4HANA / ECC systems, right? And due to which you need a middleware that can connect your SAP Ariba system with your backend system like SAP ERP, right? So since it is an SAP product, like Ariba is an SAP product, there is a middleware also which SAP has. It's based on the cloud platform from SAP. It's called Managed Gateway for Spend and Network. Right? That's the name for it. It's a very weird name. Um, Previously, it was called something else. So this is the middleware that will help connect the SAP Ariba module transactions / data with the, let's use the word S4HANA for now because that's where basically everybody is going to go eventually, right? So this is a middleware that we will look in great level of detail in terms of configuration, in terms of troubleshooting, uh, like how this module or how this middleware works to connect all these modules to SAP S4HANA. What are the various points of at which the integration can happen, right? What are the various processes that are supported for integration between SAP Ariba and S4HANA, right? So overall, if we look at all these modules, like 6 modules, seventh is middleware, and I used the word before, but let me write it down again. SAP Business Network. What is this? So this is the supplier portal from SAP Ariba, which has approximately 7 plus million suppliers, and it gives suppliers access to the transactions, which is basically POs coming from SAP Ariba, and also it allows the suppliers to come up with the not come up to create the follow-on documents for these POs, like invoices, order confirmations, ship notices, right? And many more things which we'll look at, right? So I would say this is basically these 8 things are at a high level the scope of our training. So this is basically where our focus is going to be. It is going to be a focus for us, both from end user perspective and also from the consultant slash training perspective, consultant slash configuration perspective. I think at this point, I know a lot of people are holding off on questions. I will suggest if you guys want to speak up one at a time, let's try to handle that. Do you guys have any questions on what we'll cover in training or how the future sessions will look like? Okay, so what I will do is I'll read questions from chat. We have a couple of questions which came. One from Narsima. Is procurement same as buying? Yes, procurement is basically same as buying. Yeah. Second, a question came from Abdul. What is PO flip? PO flip is on a supplier SAP business network where we are talking about, as endpoint number 8. Suppliers will be able to get the POs and they will be able to convert those POs to invoices. So that term is called PO flip. And there is Fai's question is CIG versus CI9 integration. So CI9 is a different middleware. CIG is a different middleware. Managed Spend Gateway is basically CIG. It was called CIG until last year. Now it's called Managed Spend of Gateway. And in our training, we'll look at Managed Spend Gateway. In a great level of detail, we'll talk about some of the things which are important for us to configure in SAP as well for this to work. And seems somebody has a hand up. Khwaja, you have a hand up. You can go ahead. Folks, no questions? No doubts? You ready to, I guess, start the session next week then? If there is no questions.
Hello, Manish. This is Paul here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Paul. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, I sent you a link in the chat window. Could you please open that? I just wanted to find out if your training covers all the topics listed here in this link.
Okay. So I guess while I'm reviewing it, I think there is something
Okay.
else coming from. So Paul, let me get back to you. So
Sure,
there is
sure.
Archa. Archa has a question. What does it mean as sourcing all the way down to invoice processing? So yeah, that's a good question. I think Archa, may I ask you what is your background? I'll answer it according to that.
Hi sir, I'm an electronics and communication engineer. I have no
Yeah.
idea about Ariba. So most of the parts are I don't know much about this. So I wish to get to know about this.
Oh, I see what you mean. So I think you're basically a fresher, looks like, right?
Yeah, I'm a fresher in this. I have no idea about SAP. I have no idea about Ariba. So I wish to work in the Ariba session in future so that I join for this course.
Got it. So may I ask, like, do you work like a consultant right now, like in some other kind of technology, maybe?
No, no, I was working as a data analyst in the past. Now, as
Mhm.
a fresher, I wish to start in this session. I wish to start
Oh,
as a
I see.
SAP
Got it.
consultant in future.
Yeah, so you have a little bit of experience. Looks like generally about data, but not necessarily about ERP or procurement or SAP, right? Or Ariba. That's fine. So basically, what I meant is source to all the way to invoice processing is you start with your sourcing, which is here, right? Create your RFX, um, which means creating your request for proposal, and then you from your proposal you create a contract. From your contract, you create a PO, and then PO you do a goods receipt and do an invoice, right? Now, this is basically what I meant by sourcing all the way down to invoice processing, right? So let me try to put it in a slightly different manner. Create RFP, create contract at a very high level, create PO, perform goods receipt, enter invoice. That's what I meant by sourcing all the way down to invoice processing, right? This is what Ariba supports when it comes to process. Of course, there is about supplier data, which is an SLP module. Now, since your background is very little here, Arshad, you will probably not be able to fully understand in like 30 minutes what it all means, right? It will need some
Yes.
effort from your end to go through training, understand the concepts, because we'll cover the basics as well. The idea is that whoever comes to training, they should be able to get value out of it, and I try to adapt depending upon who the audience is, right, in various sessions. So there is no fixed way I'll take in all the sessions, because it's not really a recording, right? I'm talking, and depending upon who I'm talking to, I try to adapt, right?
Okay.
So I hope that helps, Archa.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, sir.
Hmm. Okay, folks, anybody else wants to speak? I'm still looking at the link which you sent me, Paul. Files is asking what is implementation. Okay, great. So Faiz, could you speak up? Like, we're talking about like projects implementing a system, right? That's basically what it is.
Um, um, Hi Manish.
If Faiz, please go ahead.
So we are 5 to 6 people. We have joined in this group. We are
Yeah. Hmm.
from company. So we are currently working on SAP end user modules. So we would like to enhance our knowledge and we would like to learn integration project.
Yeah.
So that's what we have joined here. So we looking for implementation projects. We have background of SAP as end user. So we are
Right. Right.
looking for integration and upgrade ourselves. So we will be covered as a practical and we need to cover as we need to become consultants. That's what our aim is.
Correct. 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 So the good side is, Faiz, for you guys, you guys have end user experience in SAP, which means you have an understanding of procurement processes, PR creation, PO creation, perhaps other things as well, right? Now you guys want to understand SAP Ariba, because that's the training, what this training is all about, which means you want to understand how this particular system works from any user perspective. When you're a consultant, how to basically implement it or configure it for a client for various modules, right? So I think you're at the right place. This is what is basically what we're going to cover. And since I'm not like a teacher, right, my primary job is not teaching. This is my part-time slash weekend gig, right? Primary job is I'm a consultant too, right? Of course, for many years, so different levels and all I've gone through, right? But still a consultant at the end of the day. So I do still do implementation projects, and I will bring in various experiences from my real life. So yeah, so I assure you guys, you guys will have good value when you guys go through it. Okay.
Yeah. And one more thing I have updated in the chat. So I want
Mhm.
to know the difference between that what is implementation and support, migration, upgradation, and rollout projects. Can you give me some brief idea about it?
Implementation. Let's talk about SAP Ariba. When a client is implementing SAP Ariba new solution, what they are doing is they are either having no e-procurement tool, or they have some procurement solutions such as ERP. Most likely they will have SAP ERP. So what we're doing is bringing in a new solution. We are trying to go through um, what the new solution is going to go through or do for them, right? It's like almost like a project end to end. We try to explain them how the system works. We try to get the requirements, right? We try to build those requirements in the system, and then do we test the system as well for them. So this is basically implementation end to end project. Support is the client is already using SAP Ariba, and we're trying to change some things for them. Perhaps you want to bring in some new functionalities which they are not using right now, right? Maybe you want to enhance their approval flows, right? So that's what your support project is going to be. Migration, I would say in this case, it will apply when a client is using SAP S/4HANA for, let's say, contracts, for supplier management or PRPO process, right? and they want to bring those processes from SAP ECC to SAP Ariba, right? That's what migration is going to be, right? Upgradation, well, it's really not too much in SAP Ariba. Reason is SAP Ariba is basically what it is, a tool that is on the cloud, right? You're subscribing to it. There is going to be upgrades which are going to have which are going to be happening 4 times a year minimum, and clients will continue to get an option to get those features implemented for them. And that's sometimes from those features itself your support projects will come up. Right? So that's basically what all those are when it comes to SAP Ariba, because that's our topic. Does it help?
Hi, Manish. I have a question.
Yeah, Narasimha, please go ahead. So Faiz, if you're not clear, let me know and we can try to explain again. Yeah, Narasimha, please go ahead.
Uh, Manish, actually, there are some companies having EWM and some companies they don't have. While implementing Ariba, is there any? Because I am from testing actually, I faced
Mhm.
some questions on this. Uh, how do you integrate? What is the integration points? They were asking about this.
Did you say the word EWM?
Yeah,
See, EWM is warehouse management, right? So warehouse
yeah,
management
that
you will
is,
do when you have inventory items, right? And we said that
yeah,
inventory
yeah.
management you are not doing in Ariba, right? So there is no direct integration between SAP Ariba and EWM.
So through SAP only it will be having. Okay,
Yeah, so you can
got
say
it.
SAP MM is where the integration is.
Mhm. Then through Ariba, it is only suitable for consumables or other
Yeah, so Ariba
inventory
buying
items.
module, like let me scroll up. Ariba buying module, this module is for consumables only, right? But when it comes to sourcing, because
Doorstep?
suppliers and supplier management, right? Suppliers can be used for anything. Like you can create a
Uh,
supplier in Ariba, you can use it for inventory in SAP if you want to. It's a business partner record at the end of the day. You can monitor their
uh,
suppliers risk as well in Ariba, right? So that is also
okay.
supported. So this is like agnostic of what supplier actually supplies to you. So these two modules. These two modules do look at what items actually you're going to procure for them, whether in inventory or non-inventory, right?
Mhm.
So this will work for, and contracts will also work for inventory items, right? But
Uh,
the buying module and invoice management modules, these two primarily are for consumables. So 5, 6 are for consumables. The first 4 are for everything,
so including services,
including service master. Did you say that?
no services. Yeah, suppose we want to get a service maintenance contracts or something, we have to offload it like that.
Like,
Service
yeah,
contract,
exactly.
service
Service
contract.
contracts, exact. Yep, yep, yep. So you can
It
create
can
service
handle.
contracts from Ariba too. Yep, yep. So if you
Okay.
want to create a service contract, which means outline agreement type 46 in SAP, right? You are able to
Mhm.
initiate that from Ariba
Okay. Thank you.
too. Hmm.
Um, I'm Manish. Like apart from this, should we learn S4 HANA everything, or if we learn Ariba, it's sufficient?
See, it
So,
depends. You said you guys are like looking to go into implementation. Depends what kind of projects you're targeting, right? So if you are primarily trying to work on SAP Ariba, you have end user experience in MM and SAP, I think you are well equipped to start just with Ariba for now.
but as per the market standards, they are looking for both Ariba as well as S4 HANA, or that's what projects is happening in current market situation.
In like that's all the projects are coming in India right now.
Like what and all the job requirements we are getting, like they are mostly looking for S4 HANA along with the Ariba.
So I
So,
think it's going to kind of vary with where you are. I think that's might not be able to fully answer what might be best for your market. But yeah, I think in my view, learning more is always better, right? Because Ariba is procurement, MM is procurement as well. So eventually, I think it is not a bad idea to aim to learn both eventually. But you have so much time and you want to prioritize what you want to learn. There's a lot of MM people out there in the market right now, right? Right. So, but there is not many people out there for Ariba. So Ariba does give you edge from that perspective. The reason they sometimes say MM and Ariba is
sir.
because it's hard to find Ariba people, and they say MM might do in that case. Okay.
Hello, sir.
If I, just a second, Khwaja. Faiz, are you okay with that answer, or do you have more clarity? I would suggest
Ah,
you have more questions on that. Connect with Iraj. Iraj might be able to help you out. He will have
sure,
more
sure. Thank
insight
you,
into
sir.
your market. Okay.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks, Faiz. Khwaja, you can go ahead if you were speaking. I think you were typing.
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, sir. Sir,
You're
as I
welcome.
am working as a end user in Wistron Infocom Private Limited, and it is related to Apple. So we have around 6,000 millions vendors to supply the manufactured iPhones. So I need an updated software like to develop and utilize in my future. So I need your support and guidance to fix that, which is the software is best to go ahead in future. So I'm contacting you, sir.
Okay, so I think I probably got what you were saying, Khwaja, there. See, I think your current job is different than what procurement is all about, right? But you're looking to learn a new technology so that you can have
No, sir. I'm already working
better
in
support.
procurement only, sir. I'm working as a buyer. I'm speaking.
Oh, you're a buyer. Okay, got you. Yeah.
Yes,
And you
sir. Yes,
want
sir.
to now work as a consultant, right?
As
That's
a
good.
buyer, just we will consume like the raw materials like consumables and spare parts,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
the tools, which is be equipment parts, which is be utilized for the retrofit kits. So it will be easy, no, sir.
Correct, correct, correct. So you guys want to implement this tool, that's why you want to learn it, or are you guys implementing this tool, you want to learn it, or you want to be a consultant?
Okay, sir. We will learn this, sir. We will learn this.
Yeah, so I think you can come from different angles, like why you want to learn. I was trying to get into like why you want to learn Ariba, but I think in a nutshell, this is the tool you want to use for consumables, right? It is going to be a good experience for your users. And if you learn this tool, then it is going to help you in your job in the future as well if you want to continue there. Right? That's probably answered your question.
That's yeah, sir. Sure, sir. I will learn this and I will update in the future the habits.
Thanks, Kwaga.
Hi, hi, Manish Challa here.
Hey, Shara.
This is Corey. See, if somebody want to shift from programming background from Java, okay. So knowing the knowledge of procurement, okay, so how it will help for getting the new opportunities as a consultant?
Right. So I guess somebody is working as a programmer in Java language or some other language. They
Yes,
want to
yeah,
switch
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
procurement, right? See, firstly,
yeah,
whenever you want to break in a market in something new, there is always some learning curve. Do you want to learn something, right? Like go through some nice training, which is why you are here or you guys are here. Secondly, also there is also an effort to find the right job, right? And
yeah.
sometimes you might have to try apply to many jobs. And if you are able to demonstrate that you do know what you're talking about, then your chances are much better.
Yeah,
Right? So
because my
it's almost like a
experience
fresher,
is now
right?
almost 20 years. Yeah, no, no, it's my experience is almost 20 years now. Because when I
Yeah.
shift to the Ariba, I will become a fresher, isn't it?
No, I think let me take it back. What I said, 20 years is a long experience, right?
Yeah,
What you're bringing is not just a technical knowledge. So Java is one. You can say Java is a technology, Ariba is a technology. Let's put it this way. But what you're also bringing is your experience as an employee, as a consultant. I don't know what level you work on. You're bringing experience in that level as well, right? And all that is a value add to the client. Right? So you got to be able to say that, tell to the recruiters what are your skills which are transferable, right? Which are not your Java skills, of course, but what other skills are transferable? Perhaps working with
because
clients.
yeah, I got this now. See, I have a doubt because so when we apply for a job, okay, after completing
Mhm.
this, so everybody will compare, okay, what is the experience? Oh, okay, so it's for a freshers job or the opportunities will come based on the at last the CTC, correct? Based on now. So because here there will be some when we shift, so will we get say now about 20? I don't know whether to talk right form this is, but in the CTC of 20 per annum uh, uh, will be through some requirement anywhere in the consulting companies, right? Service companies or MNCs, will they offer or it will be difficult or how to break through? Can you give some lights on this?
Can I suggest something, Shell? Do you know who Iraj is?
Sorry.
Iraj, do you know Iraj? Iraj is like he's in BOC as well. Iraj.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Iraj is I think the person. Who do you talk with in this training? Like whom did you get email from? Did you talk with somebody?
Oh yeah, actually I applied directly in the portal. Okay, so then they called, so sorry, now called the recent demo section. So I joined.
Oh, I see. Got you. I think Iraj is not on the call today. Sometimes he is
Hmm.
on. He's a
Okay.
guy who can guide you. Um,
Okay.
I
Okay.
generally tend to lean on him to help out. So what you can do is you
Okay.
can uh, to have his email ID. Who may I ask who's on
Yeah.
SAP training? Who's just give me a second. I just want to know who's logged in as SAP training. Sana, is it you?
Okay.
Okay, so a call will be arranged with the I
Sure.
with
Sure.
Iraj
Sure.
looks like.
Because my doubt is that whatever you are explaining is good, and I'm able to understand that. And the only
Hmm.
worry or the ambiguity is that with this kind of experience, we'll be able to break the market. So that is my query basically.
See, this is your best
Right.
bet, I would say. It is your best
Okay.
bet, I
Thank you.
think, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
can you contact Sana? Sana will be able to
Yeah.
help you talk to Iraj as well if there is a need to
I
talk.
will do.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Manish.
You're welcome.
Hi, Manish. I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead, Vinay.
It's Abdul here. So I
It's
have two
Abdul. Please go
questions.
ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I have two questions. I'm a consultant at one of the reputable firm worldwide. It's IBM.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm a MM consultant. So I have the two questions which I want to ask. What is the biggest advantage of SAP Ariba? Uh,
Hmm.
I know that it connects you with the 7 million over suppliers, but
Yeah.
as we all know, like the large industries are using SAP S4 HANA, like they are doing converging themselves from ECC to S4 HANA, and their whole process is going through that.
Hmm.
What is the biggest advantage other than connecting to the suppliers worldwide? And my second question is like like I have done my research,
Hmm.
and the companies I have talked to, they said their can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. The second question is they said like our indirect procurement is mostly through SAP Ariba, but not the direct procurement. Like
Correct.
the production materials, they don't go through the SAP Ariba because the time and all frame schedule agreements are going on,
Hmm.
and the splitting, they need suppliers as soon as possible, and they don't go like their direct procurement is not through SAP Ariba. So how do you think that SAP Ariba in future can help us to cover this process?
See, your prospect client or your contact said that they are using Ariba for indirect procurement, not for direct, right?
Yes.
When they say that, they are talking about 5 and 6 here, buying and invoicing. That's first
Oh,
point worth noting. They are not talking about points 1 to 4, right? So these two modules, buying and invoicing, they are aimed to solve your indirect procurement challenges. When I say that, what it means for direct procurement, you will have inventory, you will have MRP, perhaps you will have
yes.
forecasting with some good,
Mhm.
MRP types in there with some good data. So which means that you don't really have to create a PR and a PO. The system can create PRs and POs automatically. So it's not a manual effort, it's automated already. But consumables are something which are manual, which users will have to create a PR manually themselves, right? So I know ERP struggle to find a good way to put a catalog. That's one, right? Catalog means what? You see, have a look and feel at the items, look at the items, compare the items, and see which are the right ones for you. And if it is MRO, right? MRO is a very SKU intensive catalog as well, right? I'm sure you understand what I mean by that, given your
Mhm.
background. And
Yes, yes.
you can have thousands of items which are in MRO catalog, right? If you are to rely purely in S/4HANA to create a catalog for, sorry, create a PR for MRO, you will not have a good way to create a PR. You will have to probably manage your data either outside SAP, or you will have to, do some crude way of SAP's catalog management, which is not very user friendly. Right? This is where your buying will come in picture. You will have MRO suppliers create their own catalogs themselves. which means you don't have to worry about creating their catalogs. They will themselves provide their catalogs to you. Users who are doing consumables shopping, they will just go to those catalogs, they will create those PRs, and they will go through approval. So overall, user experience will be simple. There is going to
Okay.
be fewer chances where your buyers will be involved in terms of changing your PRs to POs, right? A lot of benefits are there for consumables, but your client is already using it.
Mhm.
Other than that, first four modules, I was saying earlier, they are not used regardless of whatever type of goods or services you are using. Like you can conduct your sourcing for materials as well. There is a material master integration in Ariba, right?
Mhm.
Uh, you can also create your contracts from Ariba for your materials as well. That is also supported, right? So basically, you can say that, and similarly, suppliers do not. It doesn't matter which supplier is used for what. So 1 to 4 can be used for direct, indirect. 5 and 6 is you gonna be used for indirect only.
Indirectly so.
Yeah, yeah. Suppliers are there. I mean, it's a foundational portal that is out there that is gonna help the buyers, because at the end of the day, you're gonna interact with suppliers so many times. Either you use emails or phone calls, or you use the portals, right?
The reason I ask you because the automobile industry where I'm working in is it's Suzuki basically,
Yeah.
and I'm working there as an consultant. But what they have said, like they have their process is like they create the contracts are already made in S4, okay, and then they create the schedule agreements with reference to purchasing contracts, and
Mhm.
then they run the MRP. Their schedule lines are being run, and then the next day or next 2 days, it's their planned delivery time. Their suppliers are here because
Right, right.
when you are in the production, your line should not be stopped. It's like autonomous, like, and basically the Japanese industries are like there is always a continuous production going on. So the reason I said why you guys don't like go jump to the automation rather than being still on the S4 HANA. You have spent so much money on SAP Ariba,
Mhm.
and it's not cheap. Basically, I can say that it's not cheap, but the services which SAP Ariba provides are I do personally like it. Like there are some options like surrogate where you have to train your suppliers. In consultancy, I will say that SAP Ariba holds the very much important role, but and also it is controlled by SAP itself. We just have
Right,
to
right, right.
like the templates. We have to just make sure that the clients fill the templates and all. The rest is controlled by SAP itself.
Yeah, I think that those are good questions, Abdul. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes. Thank you. And
Thanks, Abdul. I think Vinay was trying to speak. So Vinay, you can go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. So, Manish, can you please give me a clear picture of what are all the roles and responsibility that Ariba consultant? Because I think the topics which were discussed now while works as the end user, if I'm not wrong, right?
You're saying the roles which are going to be involved in
Yeah,
Ariba, right?
yeah,
Like in terms
correct.
of
As
jobs.
the
That's what
Ariba,
you meant?
not just only Ariba. Yeah.
You mean jobs? That's what you meant? Like whatever jobs are out there in the market?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So firstly, clients who are implementing SAP Ariba, there is going to be jobs for consultants. If you are like working with, let's say, IBM or Accenture, right, or some other company, they will have projects
Mm-hmm.
for SAP Ariba. So those are like consultant jobs for SAP Ariba. And so those are they can be for any of the modules we just listed down there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. Second is also, as you mentioned, end user roles. What do we mean by end
Mm-hmm.
user roles? Means support roles. That doesn't mean like working in the HR department and creating a PR for HR. I didn't mean that. Support roles.
Mm-hmm.
So client has implemented SAP Ariba, working with, let's say, IBM, Accenture, Infosys, whichever company, right? And then at the end of the day, they will start bringing their support in house. Most of the clients who implement SAP Ariba, they bring their support in house as well, right? Well, let me not generalize. It depends, I think, where you are. In some countries, it's going to be in house, more in house. Some countries, the SI probably can still continue to it, right? Um, so depending on the client. So if it is support, then either it can be with your SI itself, which has implemented, they can continue to support SAP Ariba as well, like resolving
Mm-hmm.
tickets or resolving any bugs they find here and there, right, post go live. Or you can work in house with the support team of the client, and then you're able to help them out, whether it is for resolving any bugs or doing any enhancements. So
Okay.
two kind of
Okay.
jobs broadly: implementation and also support.
Mhm. And also, Manish, as we know that like AI is controlling the market now, so how impact? I mean, like how much impact will affect for SAP as well? For example, like in SAP Ariba, we are doing some like process in manual, so is that impact? Is that AI will impact for Ariba as well?
So I didn't
Because
quite
most of
follow.
the companies,
You think? Did you say AI?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. It's like what impact will AI have on Ariba? That's what you meant?
Uh, be- yeah, I will give an example. For example, in our organization, if the PR is, I mean, the PR or PO is created under the 5K, so the PO will automatically created. It's called automation, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like that, they are implementing. For example, in the future, if the PR will create for 50,000, even
Hmm.
they will do automation for that as well. So in that types, so in that cases, it will affect our job, right? So is that any impact on Ariba guided buying as well? I mean,
Oh, you mean jobs in the future, like how we will do our
yes,
jobs? I'm sure
yes.
they will definitely get impacted. I'm pretty sure they will.
Mm-hmm,
Because AI is like generative AI, especially right now. It is doing
mm-hmm,
certain things. AI, broadly speaking, whether machine learning or whatever type of AI we're talking about, it is going to have impact on everything, right? There are
okay.
some places in which AI is already being used in Ariba, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
I mentioned about sourcing. Ariba recently came up with a newer
mm-hmm,
module for sourcing called guarded sourcing, and that's where we will also learn how to use it. There are some places in which AI is embedded in it. It's about machine learning. Um,
mm-hmm,
that's in Ariba. Sourcing guided buying as well. They are trying to bring in AI here and there. They are trying to look in the consumers or the shopper as in the end users, previous shopping history, and they are trying to bring it to the user in terms of suggesting what is the right item for them to buy given their experience and given what the peers are buying. And so here and there, Ariba is trying to bring in AI where it makes sense to bring it in. Things like PO creation, I mean, those are out there for a long time. I won't even call them AI. They are like basic automation that is there in Ariba as well. Ariba, you don't
mm-hmm.
really create a PO. PO is automatically created once the PR is
Yeah.
approved. And so there is no buyer processing a PO role is not even there in Ariba. And Ariba
Okay.
buyers are basically looking at contracts and doing sourcing.
Okay. Okay, Manish, that's clear. Thanks for the
Mhm.
answers.
Yeah, thanks, Vinay. Okay, so I'm looking at the link Paul you gave me. Yeah, so basically pretty much everything that we have in this is going to be covered. So you gave me a learning journey for SAP Ariba, right? What is this for? For procurement. Yeah, so you want to be,
Yeah.
looks like you want to certify in procurement for SAP Ariba, right? I think th- we will cover more than what you need to cover, I think, in that case. Um,
Okay. So,
However,
Manish,
I will
yes,
say
go
that
ahead.
we will cover from a practical perspective, right?
Okay.
If you have done trainings for SAP Ariba, they are very, very, very spoon feeding. Like they will teach you from a very, very, very basic level, right? Um, and they will try to cover things in a theoretical approach, right? There is like very, very little demo. So if you're done your learning hub courses, you probably know that there is 2% demo, rest is all reading, right?
Right, right.
Whereas for us, it is like 65 to 70% is, or probably 80% is being in the system, 20% is
Yeah.
theory. So
So,
I
by
think
the
if
way,
you
my
do
experience
both, I
is,
think that's probably better for you, Paul. So if you want to
I'm
certify, I will
sorry.
say do look at. So if you are certifying, you will get learning hub access anyway. So I will say go through those theoretical courses. They'll be very time
Okay.
consuming, right? They'll be quite boring. Our trading is going to be much more interesting. So if you
Yeah,
complement
yeah.
these two, I think it's going to be best for you.
Okay. So, by the way, a few questions I have. Okay. So, when
Yes, go
I
ahead.
clicked on those that link purchase subscription, I believe it said okay, you had to pay $1,380. So I was not sure whether it meant all the topics or all the modules within the learning, SAP.com, or did it mean only, the within the Ariba space? So I was not very clear about that.
Can I suggest you talk to Iraj about it? I think it kind of varies by
Okay,
country. I can only speak to
okay,
what happens here.
sure, sure. Okay.
Mhm.
Then, yeah, as you mentioned, right, a lot of topics are theoretical. For example, I got my SAP HANA procurement certification last year.
Hmm.
and I felt like I was, just literally, reading stuff that I, didn't really find any practical use for it. But for the sake of the test, I had to, be aware of it. Yeah. Um,
Correct.
yeah.
That's true.
And how is Ariba, the market compared to Coupa or GEP?
Yeah, see, those products definitely have market, right? GP has a
Okay.
market, definitely. Coupa has a market as well. I think where those products last lack is that there is no, um, what do you call, good integration with the backend.
Okay.
Right? So these tools are there. They struggle for integration. Like if you were to implement GEP for everything which we're talking about, you'll probably have 100 plus custom interfaces.
Oh, okay.
And they will be all like limited in what they do. There is no middleware that is plug and play like management gateway. So theoretically, those are good systems to use. Practically, they are not.
Okay.
Clients will implement them sometimes because they find them cheaper, right? But in the long run, it kind of bites them, right?
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So when you were talking about the direct versus indirect, so just wanted to clarify that one more time. You said modules 1 to 4, that is for direct, and 5 and 6
Direct
is
and
for
for
indirect.
indirect both. Direct and indirect both.
Okay, direct and indirect. Okay.
Yeah.
But what about invoicing for direct? We still need to use 6, right?
Yeah, we still need to use six. But see, we said that we will not even create your PO for direct in Ariba. So why will you put your
Okay.
invoice in Ariba? You'll put your invoice in SAP.
SAP. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
But if we are using SAP MM, right, for direct, then will we still use Ariba for setting up the suppliers?
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
SLP module will still help you create supplier data. See, there is one assumption we are making here in our discussion, like client is having all these modules. Some clients might not
Hmm.
have all the modules. They might just have SLP
Okay.
and let's say sourcing. They might not have all the modules. It depends what client has, right? So if a client
Yeah.
has SLP, yeah, definitely they will create their suppliers here. But if they don't even have SLP, guess what? Then they won't be able to, right?
And if they do have Ariba, will they always use Ariba for direct procurement, or can they say, you know what, for these materials, I'll just use, the back end, which is MM side of things.
Correct, correct. That's exactly it is. So when clients are having a mix of direct and indirect, they will use direct in MM because there is MRP
Mhm.
component there, inventory management component there. In Ariba, they will
Right,
not.
right.
In Ariba, they will focus on consumables.
Yeah. Especially if the order originates from the sales order, right? Then it makes sense to use the MM, right? The module,
Correct. So from sales orders, you are creating delivery,
intercompany. Yeah.
delivery, right? Okay. No, it's gonna be PO is gonna create a sales order. Sales orders will not create a PO, right?
If for intercompany, you start with sales order, that will trigger a PR, then PR is converted to PO. Or you could have a sales contract, and then requirements after that, right? So there are different scenarios actually. Yeah. Um,
Creating a sales order. Okay. Anyways, that's off topic. Sorry. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
yeah,
right, right.
but
Yeah, yeah,
it won't be supported in Ariba. You're right. There is no ST component
yeah,
here either.
correct. Okay, one last question. You talked about a little bit about generative AI. So, uh, could you throw some light on that? I know it's a new topic, and I started to read up on one, document. I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah. So I think generative AI is firstly it is not applicable to what we're talking about. Right?
Okay,
Generative AI is mainly about generating content. Right?
okay.
Like if you notice why I was typing in word and it's already finishing the sentence for me. Right? So
Sorry, say that
so
again,
I
Manish.
was typing a line here in Microsoft Word and it is already finishing the sentence for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah, right, right, right.
It's generating
Yeah.
content. That's basically what
Mhm.
generative AI is, right?
Okay.
It tries to understand what you are probably about to type in, maybe look at your patterns of typing, right? Just that's how the
Mhm.
word Gen AI will work, right? There is other tools out there for for searching and for writing content. I would say
Mhm.
that's not. in context with what we are talking about. When I was talking about AI, I was talking about guided sourcing. This was mainly about machine learning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of machine learning that Ariba has introduced, and they are bringing. Um, I would still say machine learning here in guided mind,
Mhm.
but there is no Gen AI here. I think Gen AI will come. I have a feeling it's going to come here and
Okay.
here slowly, but it's not there on the roadmap. I think right now.
Okay. I heard Ariba has got some issues, right, with regarding their product. There's a little bit of disconnect between the sales team and the technical team. So, do you foresee any major, what do you call, overall of the product soon?
When is tell me whenever is it possible that there is no disconnect between sales and technical? It's going to be always there. It's there
Okay.
everywhere. Yeah, those people will always have different views of everything,
Hmm.
right? So there is no impact in my view
Okay.
because it's not just a Ariba. Everywhere there is a disconnect.
Okay. Thanks, Manish. When you plan to start the classes? Is it next week or?
Yeah, next Sunday I think is the first
Okay.
session. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm. Yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Manish, do you use the defect life cycle here in
Yeah, defects
Ariba?
of yeah, yeah, definitely. You see, if there is a defect management tool that a client has, that tool can definitely be used. So when you say defect life cycle, I'm not sure what you meant exactly. But yeah, defect
Example,
management is there. Yeah,
defect life cycle like Jira and all, we'll be using the tools, right? So,
that's regardless of the technology you're using, you can use Jira here too. Yeah.
so what is defect life cycle?
Yeah, I think I should ask you what you meant by defect life cycle.
Because I
Defect life.
got this one in that they told like you need to have knowledge on defect life cycle and tools in Jira, experience or knowledge.
Yeah, I think that I won't be able to answer exhaustively about Jira, right? Um, it's a separate topic altogether, Faiz, right? But in nutshell, basically, you have a system you are implementing. There are bugs in implementation while you're testing and trying to resolve them from creation up until closure. That's basically at a high level what it is.
Yeah, I got it. But while in the job description they are requesting that too, the job description. So
Yeah.
that's the
So
reason I
see, yeah. So what they're saying is, do you know how to manage defects, or have you used any tools that's used for defect management like Jira?
asked.
Yeah, that's really not related with what Ariba is. Ariba is like a system which you're implementing. You could have had defect management experience in other implementations if you had, right? That still applies here, right? You see what I mean, Faiz?
Yeah, you're telling we have defect life cycle, but probably we will be not using Jira and all. Like you need to have knowledge what you meant to say.
Exactly, exactly. So in our training, we are not doing Jira for defect management, right? It's not implementation project, it's a training, right? So in a project, you will have defects and you will use some tools or maybe even SharePoint for defect management, right? So that's a separate topic of ours.
Sure.
I would suggest
Thank you.
maybe try to read on Jira if you want to. Yeah. Folks, any other questions?
Hi Manish, this is Boy. Is I'm audible to you?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, yeah, thanks for the demo, Manish. As per you all discussed, like these are the models which will be covered in our training, right?
Correct.
So once we take, so in this, basically this will be the end user one. So we are more specifically looking for the implementation, integrations, this kind of things. So what are the things that you will cover for integration and implementation and testing, if anything is there?
Yeah. So what is implementation? First, that's a question. Implementation is understanding what the client is wanting to do, what is the requirement, and configuring that in the SAP Ariba system. So we'll come up with some real life examples. This is our client's dummy requirement and how to configure that dummy requirement in a given module, right? Given my experiences in various projects. So that's about implementation. I think second question was about integration. Yeah, so we'll have a session in which we'll cover about, it's a full session actually, about 3 hours, where we'll talk about this middleware called Managed Spend Gateway. We'll talk about how to configure this middleware. We'll also talk about what are the various points you will configure in SAP so that this module works with SAP Ariba. We'll talk about what are the various scenarios for integration that are supported between SAP Ariba and also SAP ERP. Right, so we will cover those topics as well in detail. So both implementation and also integration.
Thank you. And one more thing, like as I know, like in SAP we actually do implementation blueprint, and there will be IDOC and LSMW and integrations with different models like ESP or warehouse management, like that. Similar to this, will it be this will be similar in Ariba, or it will be different in this case?
See, you're talking about some concepts that they are in SAP to, let's say use load some data, create some shortcut for loading data. So
Yeah.
those are purely SAP topics. How SAP
Mm-hmm.
works, that's the way it is designed. So those are not related with what SAP Ariba is about. Right? There are different ways to, let's say, load data in Ariba. So we will look at how to load data of various kinds, which are necessary for you to like load suppliers, for example, right? Load commodity codes, all those things we'll cover, but they won't be similar to what you have looked at SAP.
Mhm. Like in the same voice, like in SAP we do create a material or a plant or vendor
Mm.
or something related to that. The same will be done over here in Ariba, like a supplier creation and a plant and material, like similar to that, or it is a different thing.
It is different. You won't create your organization structure in Ariba because Ariba is
Mm-hmm.
your tool that is for procurement. It is not creating organization structure here directly. You are using it what is created in SAP. So you will use this structure which is there in SAP already. You can create in Ariba if you want to, but what is the value of creating it if it's not the same as it's in SAP, right?
Okay, okay. Can I just do in a brief way, like what actually we do in Ariba implementation and integration? Just in one sentence. Or,
Yeah, see, any implementation project, whether it is Ariba or whether it is you're trying to understand what is client's business process, trying to understand what their, pain points are, how a given tool which you're implementing for them is going to help them out, right? And then implement that solution. What we mean by implement is what is our client requirement? How can we configure a system so that client requirement can be met? But that's basically what a project is all about, right?
okay. So actually, first you will be covering this end user thing, and at last you will going for the implementation and integration, or who it will be.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay. First you will be covering the basic end user job activity, and then you will be going further for implementation, right?
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. Like as a few people already discussed, like coming to directs will be like I know like direct will be specifically in SAP, like indirect will be here like hardware of procurement of material like hardware or something related to uh, human resource. So just want to more understanding on these things, like it will be and one more thing, like there will be chatbot activity to make a work simplifier. So, will you go through some this kind of examples in our training section?
Okay, could you come again? Like, what kind of examples? Your voice is a bit muffly, a little bit muffly. I think I cannot fully clearly understand your voice.
Sorry about it. Is it audible now?
You're audible. I think you might have to repeat.
Okay. What I am saying is like as one of our colleagues said that there will be like in moving in future there will be AI which will gonna impact, and also in our current organization there will be there is some chatbot activities which is they are implementing to make the work simplifier. So
Uh-huh.
is there any examples will we show on in our training section? Like suppose
Right,
we
right.
have to update anything like payment terms like in a bulk, or suppose anything in a contract level or PO level, or in a something related to that, there will be a chatbot activity that will be generated, and the payment terms will be automatically updated in the PO levels and contract levels. So,
Yeah. So
will
there
this
were,
example
yeah, yeah, sure. I think getting from your end. Mike, could you mute
Mhm.
yourself and I'll answer your question?
Sorry, can you please do it?
If you mute yourself, then I can answer
Yeah, just a minute.
because I'm getting an echo. Yeah. So sure, wherever there is, possibility or a functionality where there is AI that is coming in picture, we will cover that. So that's point number one. Second is you talked about some questions about payment terms. You brought some points about specific points about payment terms, right? I think we might have to revisit that in our discussions, future discussions, what you exactly mean. But in a very short way to answer that is yes, we will cover um, wherever we see currently AI is working in Ariba. So those topics will be covered.
Okay, Manish, thank you. And my last question is, what will be the training period? Like, how many months it will take to cover all these topics?
Correct. So we'll have 12 weeks of training, and sorry, not 12 weeks, 12 sessions of training, and which means Saturday, Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
2 sessions, 1 week, and similarly six
Okay.
weeks,
And
12 sessions. So
okay.
ballpark 3 hour
Suppose
session.
okay. Okay. One last question. Like, actually, after the training, is there anything support from your side for any referrer in other companies? Like, actually, I am working as a end user in a company, and I'm looking to jump in a consultant role. So, after this training done, is there any possibility from your side to, if there is any reference from your side, it can be done, or any support from your side?
I think BOC generally can help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's see if you speak with Iraj, she'll be able to guide you more.
Okay. Okay, Manish. Yeah. Thanks for the answer. Thank you.
You're welcome, Shoaib.
Hello, Manish. This is Paul again. Have a
Hey,
quick
Paul.
question. Regarding the certification, I know since there are many modules in Ariba, is there a certain sequence that we need to follow for the certification? I believe the sourcing was the probably the least complex one among all of them. So, any thoughts on that, please?
Yeah, sourcing is a good one to start, I think. But it will also depend upon what you want to certify in. Like if you are from and you want to certify in P2P, which is procurement, um, then you might want to work on it. It is a little bit of a complex certification. Sourcing is more simple, right? I think if you're certified in sourcing, it's an easy lift for you in terms of like how soon you can certify. Yeah. So there is no particular sequence, I would say. Some people prefer to work in procurement, like downstream Ariba, buying and invoicing, and some consultants want to focus on sourcing and contracts. Right? So people who want to focus on the sourcing and contracts, they probably do not want to certify in procurement. Right? Yeah, so it
Okay,
depends where you want
so
to go, but sourcing is less complex. Agreed.
buying and invoicing is one certification or is it two?
Procurement, as you mentioned, procurement is one certification.
Okay, so that covers both buying and invoicing, right?
Correct. Two modules, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you said this is going to take a little more effort in preparing,
Procurement
correct?
will take more effort, yes. There is more
Okay.
detailed topics to cover. It's going to be lengthy. I think the
Hmm.
best is if you can check in learning journeys, like how long does it take to do sourcing and so on. You'll see that this is the longest one.
Okay.
Like
So,
add up the hours for each, right?
okay. So for preparing for the certification, Manish, do we need to go through the learning journey material or not necessarily?
See, my view is if you go through our training, you I think you have sufficient knowledge to crack certification, I feel. But if you have access to learning up, then why not spend time on that? Because as you mentioned earlier, for S4 HANA procurement as well, right? There is quite detailed training they have, which is quite boring as well, right? But a lot of theoretical concepts are out there, right? So there is no harm in looking at them.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's my view. I mean, if you have time and there is no rush in completing it, and you have access as well, so might as well look at both.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of you know detail there in the learning journey. So maybe one day we can talk about that, because I just want to focus on what is really relevant for buying and invoicing and sourcing.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thanks, Manish.
You're welcome. Folks, any other questions?
Hi Manish, Avdut here.
You have, dude?
Yeah, so my question is like most of the companies are asking for at least one implementation project experience. So being a fresher, not being fresher, like I do have 2 years of experience in sourcing and procurement. So how can we portray ourselves uh, being into like I wanted to pursue my career into career consulting role. So how can I pursue, like most of the company, as I said, like most of the companies are asking for at least one implementation project experience or any role of a project experience.
Right. That's a hard question to answer, I would do. If you are looking at jobs in which at least one implementation experience is needed, I think it's going to depend upon what's the competition, right? If let's say there is somebody else who has more experience than you are, they naturally have an edge, right? But if the pool is similar to you, then and you have gone through detailed training like the one we have here, perhaps you also get certified, right? If you have time and also resources for doing it, then I guess you have a good starting point. Then if you have sourcing out and procurement experience otherwise in different systems as well, that can also be value add.
Okay. So frankly speaking, I do have a experience in GEP products also. So if I wanted to change into like Ariba, so how can I portray myself?
See, GP is also e-procurement. It's a little clunky though, right? But you understand how GP works, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And which means you have sourcing procurement understanding, right? Because similar
yes,
processes I've
exactly.
seen working there as well. I think I have to mute somebody. I don't know Shella. I think Shella, could you mute yourself? I think he did already. Right. Yeah. So you have understanding of sourcing procurement, and you will go through training, which we are doing right now. This training itself can be noted down as something you went through recently in your resume too, right? And
Okay,
I think that's a good starting point.
all right. Thank you, Manish. Thank
Thanks, Abadut. Okay, folks. I think slowly people are dropping off, and I'll ask once again if you guys have any questions, feel free to bring up. If not, I think you also have Sanam. You can reach out to her for any questions you have, especially regarding registration. And if you guys need to speak with Iraj, she can put you through to Iraj as well.
And Manish, sorry, there's one last question. So, what was
Uh-huh.
the timings for the training, please?
So today we started at what this time, right? Like whatever time we started, it's going to be same time to start.
Oh, okay. For 3 hours, right?
Correct.
Okay. By the way, if I just go through the video recordings, would that suffice, or do you think I should still attend the classes too?
See, the benefit of attending the class is what? There is a dialogue which is happening,
Hmm.
right? So video is there. I mean, if you have nothing to do and you look at a video, there is a plus point, no doubt, right? But when you're in a session, you can clarify your doubts right away. Video is like a bit passive learning. Session is more of active learning. There is more value in the sessions, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically Saturdays, Sundays for the next 6 weeks, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and in case we miss some session, the recording would be available for us to go through it, correct?
Recording will be available, and also questions can be asked still in the following session. But generally, I
Oh,
do suggest if you guys have paid for the training, do attend it. Right. That's the
yeah,
best
yeah,
way to get value for the money. Right.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, folks. I think let's try to meet again next Sunday. Hope you guys are able to join the next Sunday session. Okay, then talk to you guys, and thank you so much for patiently, listening to me and bringing up the questions and talking through. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Manish. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks for the session, Manish. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.